Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking mechanisms of transformation, from biology to behavior. We're going to be exploring the fascinating, totally hidden processes that drive massive change. We're getting deep into something really unique here, how the exact same underlying principles actually govern entirely different areas of our lives.
So I want you to keep this massive, open question in the back of your mind as we go. What is the hidden biological switch that melts belly fat, and what is the psychological trick that forces millions to watch you do it? Now, on the surface, I know it sounds like we're talking about two completely disconnected worlds, right? Human physiology on one hand, digital retention on the other. But as you'll see today, they actually share a remarkably powerful common denominator.
And the answer to both really boils down to mastering one thing: the mechanism. You see, a mechanism isn't just some surface-level hack or a quick trick that stops working after a week. As we found in the research, it's the fundamental underlying lever you pull to force a predictable, undeniable outcome. So the crucial point is that whether we are talking about your physical health or digital marketing, mastering this mechanism is the absolute key to true transformation.
Let's start with our own biology because, well, how many times have you or someone you know tried cutting calories, doing grueling cardio, dropping all the carbs, only to step on the scale and see absolutely zero results? It's miserable. But according to Dr. Mike Diamonds, that frustration happens because you aren't touching the specific hormonal levers that belly fat actually listens to. You can starve yourself all you want, but if you don't engage the biological mechanism, your body is just going to fight back.
So instead of just vaguely eating healthy, Dr. Mike Diamonds brilliantly groups specific foods by the exact physiological mechanisms they activate in your body. We're talking about deploying oats and apple cider vinegar to actively slow down sugar absorption and chill out your insulin. We're using the omega-3s in salmon and the antioxidants in berries to cool the toxic systemic inflammation that literally locks belly fat in place. And we're using the capsaicin in chili peppers to literally flip the burn switch on our fat cells.
Now, this absolutely blew my mind when I read it. Consuming just 10 extra grams of soluble fiber a day led to 3.7% less deep visceral fat over 5 years. Let that sink in for a second. That's the highly dangerous fat wrapping around your internal organs just melted away by a tiny adjustment. And 10 grams? That is literally just 2 small apples or half a cup of beans a day. That is the sheer power of an isolated, highly specific biological mechanism at work.
Obviously, none of these foods are a miracle all by themselves. But when you pull all three of these levers together, calming the insulin spikes, cooling the internal inflammation, and turning that cellular burn on, you are creating the ultimate biological environment. Your body simply has no choice but to let go of the fat. You've completely rewritten the internal rules of the game.
But okay, that brings us to the million-dollar question, right? Why do we still fail even when we know the science? If it's as simple as eating apples and salmon, why isn't everyone walking around in perfect health? Well, because knowing the biology is only half the battle. The other half is navigating the messy, completely unpredictable world of human behavior.
And the folks at Brentwood MD show us how applying behavioral mechanisms can eliminate our natural blind spots through hard data. For example, they had this highly successful business executive who swore up and down his clean diet was only 1,600 calories a day. But when he finally took step 1 and actively tracked it, he discovered his supposedly healthy breakfast alone was packing a massive 600 calories. By pairing that exact tracking with a continuous glucose monitor, he finally connected his daily food choices to his actual biochemical responses, eliminating the guesswork completely.
And making that connection leads to a profound identity shift. Take Dr. Aaron Wenzel, for instance. He was a highly educated medical doctor who had gained 44 pounds of fat despite intimately knowing all the underlying science. It wasn't until he asked himself, if Tom Brady needs a throwing coach, why did I think I could figure everything out on my own, that things finally changed. He realized he needed an external mechanism, a coach, to point out his behavioral blind spots and force a real shift in his daily habits.
And part of that behavioral coaching is a crucial mindset shift. Brentwood MD uses this brilliant golf analogy for high performers. Just like one bad hole shouldn't ruin your entire 18-hole game, one bad meal shouldn't derail your entire week of progress. If you eat a donut, you don't throw your whole life away. An incredibly powerful mechanism for long-term behavioral change is simply learning to isolate your setbacks so they don't corrupt your whole routine.
Okay, so you've mastered the biology, you've conquered the behavior. How do you actually share this with the world? If you want to sell a breakthrough health product or idea, you have to cross over into the high-stakes world of copywriting compliance.
Out there, the mechanisms you use to describe your product can literally make or break you.
Copywriter Rob Palmer lays out some incredibly strict rules for navigating this. You have to intricately know the boundary between an illegal disease claim and a compliant structure-function claim. For instance, you can never say your mechanism lowers blood pressure. That immediately gets you sued or banned by regulators. But you absolutely can say it supports healthy blood pressure. The difference is literally just a few words, but those words are the regulatory line between incredible business success and a total disaster.
And this is where the psychology gets absolutely fascinating. A novel, specific, and simple mechanism completely reframes the customer's problem. Rob Palmer points out that when you explain a new scientific framework, like, say, a newly discovered gut hormone that signals the brain to store fat, you actually remove the customer's shame. You're giving them a logical, guilt-free reason why their past diets failed, and making your specific solution feel incredibly logical.
But listen, having the greatest biological product in the world means absolutely nothing if nobody sticks around to hear your pitch. We live in an attention economy. To get people to stop scrolling and actually listen to you, you must master the psychological mechanisms of attention and suspense.
Notice how marketing expert Joanna Wiebe contrasts a weak, vague opener with a highly specific superhook. If you just say, "By the end of this, you'll know how to improve your hooks," there's no real bait. It's boring. But if you promise they will learn how to hook 10x the viewers, you give their brain a concrete, numerical payoff to stick around for. The strength of your hook is a direct reflection of how strong and specific that payoff is. So how do you actually build that irresistible superhook? Well, you need 3 elements working simultaneously. Action gives the content forward momentum. Bait gives the viewer a selfish reason to lean forward. And tension creates an uncomfortable gap in their brain that absolutely demands to be closed. If you leave just one of these out, you risk creating a false loop that viewers just ignore.
Now here is a really cool trick from the research. You can test the tension of literally any hook by placing the phrase, "I never thought it was possible, but," right in front of it. I never thought it was possible, but let's talk about hooks. Sounds completely ridiculous, right? There's zero tension. But I never thought it was possible, but one headline doubled conversions without changing the offer. Suddenly, you have a real psychological grip on the viewer that actually sounds surprising.
And once you have that grip, you maintain it over time using the Zeigarnik effect, which is the tendency for our brains to remember unfinished tasks much better than finished ones. By opening a massive superhook at the start and skillfully sprinkling mini hooks and rehooks along the way, you trap the viewer's attention in a continuous loop. Their brain is just craving closure throughout the entire explainer, and it physically won't let them leave until they get the answer.
Epidemic Sound utilizes a really similar problem, suspense, solution framework, proving that introducing new obstacles constantly raises the stakes. Think about it. If you're rushing to the airport and lose your keys, that's suspense. But if you finally find them, get to the airport, and then realize your passport is expired, you've just spiked the tension all over again. Continuous obstacles are literally the ultimate retention mechanism.
But hey, whatever you do, you must avoid the silent hook killer, the word because. If you say, "I grew my channel because I changed my thumbnails," you've just given away the punchline. The curiosity loop closes before it even opens. The tension is totally gone, and the viewer just keeps scrolling because their brain already has the answer.
Which actually brings us right back to that massive question we opened with at the very beginning of this explainer. We promised to connect the biological with the psychological and show you how these seemingly unrelated worlds are driven by the exact same forces.
Because whether you are melting belly fat or crafting viral retention, success relies entirely on identifying and activating highly specific hidden mechanisms to force a predictable outcome. Whether it's 10 grams of soluble fiber triggering a cellular response in your body's insulin, or a 3-part hook triggering an emotional response in your viewer's brain, the framework is exactly the same. Find the hidden lever, pull it, and let the science do all the heavy lifting for you.
So, as you leave today, I want you to ask yourself which of these frameworks can you apply immediately to unlock your own next level of transformation? Are you going to fix your biological environment to transform your health, or are you going to refine your psychological hooks to transform your business? The levers are right in front of you. Go out there and start pulling them.